Meet Gus. Today, Gus spent 8 hours digging trenches in the hot sun. He lifted heavy dirt, fought against physical resistance, and sweated through his shirt. And this is Bob. Today, Bob sat in an ergonomic chair in an air-conditioned room. He did not lift anything heavier than a coffee mug, and the temperature was a perfect 21 degrees Celsius. Yet, as the clock strikes 5 p.m., Gus is ready to go grab a bite with friends, feeling tired but satisfied. While Bob feels like he has been run over by an actual steamroller. His muscles are tense, his head is throbbing, and his battery is flashing a warning red. How is it biologically possible to feel more physically exhausted from staring at a screen than from doing hard manual labor? The answer is that your brain is the most expensive piece of machinery you own, and overthinking is running it at redline. Biologically speaking, your brain makes up only about 2% of your total body weight, but under normal circumstances, it consumes a massive 20% of your daily energy. It is constantly demanding glucose and oxygen to keep your basic systems running. Now, when Gus is digging a trench, his muscles are demanding most of that energy. His brain is on autopilot, enjoying the repetitive, rhythmic nature of the work. But back at the desk, Bob is doing something far more expensive. He is running high-level cognitive simulations. He is trying to draft a simple text message to his boss. And instead of just typing it, his brain launches into overdrive. Unlike a computer that processes one task at a time, Bob's brain decides to simulate parallel universes. The brain steps up to the whiteboard. All right, let's run the simulations. If we say, "Hey," does it sound too casual? What if we say, "Dear Sir"? No, that sounds like we're writing from the 1800s. What if they reply with just, "Okay"? Does "okay" with a period mean they are angry? To run these simulations, Bob's brain has to activate multiple brain regions simultaneously. It is using the prefrontal cortex for planning, the amygdala for evaluating threat, and the hippocampus to recall past text exchanges. This is cognitive simulation, and it is insanely expensive. Your muscles eventually get tired because of a buildup of lactic acid, which is a physical signal to stop. But your brain doesn't have pain receptors. It doesn't get sore. It just continues to burn glucose, depleting its local glycogen stores and flooding your prefrontal cortex with glutamate, a chemical byproduct that, when accumulated, makes mental tasks feel physically exhausting. But it gets worse. Because your evolutionary brain has a major design flaw. It cannot tell the difference between a real, physical threat and a simulated, mental threat. When Gus sees a trench wall starting to crumble, his brain triggers a brief, intense spike of adrenaline to help him jump out of the way. Once he is safe, his nervous system immediately resets to calm. But when Bob spends 4 hours worrying about whether his coworkers sigh meant they hate him, his brain treats that coworkers sigh like a predator stalking him in the tall grass. This triggers a low-grade, chronic stress response. His adrenal glands drip cortisol into his blood. His heart rate stays slightly elevated, and his muscles remain unconsciously tensed up for hours. Bob is literally running a physical marathon while sitting completely still. No wonder his body feels wrecked at 5 p.m. He has been in survival mode for 8 straight hours. So how do we stop this silent battery drain? The answer isn't to work less. It is to simulate less. First, practice satisficing instead of maximizing. Most daily decisions do not require finding the perfect, absolute best option. Choosing a lunch spot or a text format only requires a good enough option. Second, establish simulation boundaries. When you catch your brain running a worst-case scenario about the future, physically interrupt it. Tell yourself, "I am choosing to resolve this tomorrow at 9 a.m., not right now." Finally, give your brain real sensory recovery. Scrolling through social media or playing video games is not rest. It is just more sensory input for your brain to process. True rest is low stimulation, walking without headphones, staring out a window, or sitting in silence. Your exhaustion is real, even if you did nothing but sit all day. Respect your brain's energy limits. Close your open mental loops and let yourself rest. If this helped you understand your own exhaustion, subscribe to the Sandbox. We'll see you in the next simulation.